Everybody. Angie B here again. And before I start today's vlog, I just have to say, I think I look pretty damn cute today, okay? I very rarely actually put any time or effort into any of my, clothes and outfits and jewelry and makeup and stuff. And today I've got the cutest little purple and white ensemble on with my little Buddha necklace that my mom got me for Christmas. So I just have to say, I think I look pretty cute. Okay, today's vlog topic is childhood books, or my favorite childhood books. And I'm going to start with an oldie but a classic, Swiss Family Robinson, okay? Because growing up, I loved reading books that took place someplace other than, Nowheresville, Illinois. So deserted islands, other planets, other countries, I loved books that took place somewhere else. And I love Swiss Family Robinson because it was all about being inventive and intellectual and creative. And I loved how the family would train all of these crazy animals like oxes and zebras and ostriches so that the boys could ride around on them. Thought that was pretty sweet. Second book I'm going to talk about, Ender's Game, okay? I love Ender's Game. Orson Scott Card, one of the best sci-fi writers out there. And I especially love Ender's Game because it's one of my only positive memories of my dad. My dad read me all of Ender's Game when I was 5, 6, and 7, okay? He'd read this to me before I went to bed. And I loved this book because it was crazy and completely out of my realm of experience. I mean, you're that young, you don't understand anything about, like, intergalactic warfare and aliens and video games even at that point, because I wasn't a child who knew about video games until I was like 11. But Ender's Game was so good because my dad didn't censor anything, okay? All of the violence, all of the swearing, and while a lot of it just went whoosh over my head, I mean, at that age, it was such a powerful book. I dreamt about it, I thought about it, and it's one of the first sci-fi books that I ever had any sort of awareness of, and it really opened up the possibilities for me. Ella Enchanted, okay? I loved this book, okay? In grade school, this was one of my favorite books. I love anything to do with fairy tales, or fractured fairy tales, or mythology, and I loved this book because it was kind of a sly, tongue-in-cheek take on fairy tales, and I loved it because the heroine actually was proactive, She wasn't like Snow White or Cinderella or Sleeping Beauty. She didn't just wait for her prince to rescue her. She was the one who broke the spell and kicked ass and was amazing. I don't really like the movie version that much, even though it has Hugh Dancy in it, just because it didn't stay true to the book. And I thought it was a little too over the top and ridiculous, and the book was a little bit more subtle than that, so I definitely prefer the book over the movie. So if you've seen the movie and you haven't read the book, check out the book. Next on the list, Red Wall, okay? This whole series is the bomb diggity. That is the definition of the bomb. I love every single book in this series. In fact, to this day, when a new Red Wall book comes out, I have to run to the store or run to the library and read it, okay? I love Brian Jacques so much for this series. I still think the first one is the best one, in large part because I think Jacques wrote it without realizing that he was going to be writing a kids series. So it's a bit more accessible to all ages, it's a bit more mature. And I love this book series because, if you've never, heard Red Wall, it's about mice and badgers and voles and moles and shrews and rabbits and foxes that talk and wear clothes and have sword fights. I mean, how much more awesome can you get? I love this series because it kind of feels historical because it takes place in a time where, you can imagine Robin Hood running around, and there's castles and abbeys and pirates and all that cool shit. Also, it's a British series, and the rabbits are pretty much, the hares I should say, pretty much the shit, because they're all just so awesome and British and pish-posh and toffery, and I love it. Such a good series. Definitely check this book out if you have never read it before, because it's so good. Last book I'm going to mention, Watership Down, okay? And I love this book because, like Redwall, it's got talking animals in it. And growing up, I had such a huge thing for talking animals. I did not play with Barbie dolls as a girl. I didn't even really play with Cabbage Patch dolls that much. I played with stuffed animals that I then made clothes for and had epic soap operas with, okay? And I love Watership Down because, yeah, it's kind of like Redwall, but on the same hand, it's so realistic because there are rabbits and they talk to each other and they have societies and they have storytellers and stuff, but they don't wear clothes, they don't have tiny little furniture in their warrens. I love it because they're animals. I mean, their basic concerns are food and shelter and reproducing. And I love it because there's epic rabbit warfare, but it's so, like, low scale and awesome. And it's just a great commentary on society and companionship and about how humans encroach on nature. And it's got a whole language of its own. It's British. And it's got so many lovable characters. I love Hazel, but he's a bit pig-headed sometimes. I love Fiver because he's crazy and awesome. I love Dandelion because he's the storyteller. Strawberry because he's the goof. And I love Bigwig, okay? Bigwig is a bamf, okay? Imagine Vinnie Jones, only slightly more educated and soft-spoken. That's Bigwig, and he's awesome. There were plenty of other kids books that I read growing up, you know, Boxcar Children, Happy Hollisters, My Side of the Mountain. I loved Animorphs and Goosebumps a lot. But I think those 5 books right there, they really put me on the path to what I am today. The writer, the reader, the fangirl that I am today. And these are the kind of books that you can read even now, you know, 10, 15, 20 years after you first read them, and they're still amazing. I mean, I love all of these books. I may not love them to the same extent in the same way that I did when I was a child, but I still love them, and they're still awesome. So, that's my kids book vlog. Hope you guys have enjoyed. Hope you have a lovely night. Check you later.